Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Pastor Patrick Ramos. It's my honor to be the campus pastor out in Ascension Parish. And I just want to jump into the word today. I'm going to be reading from Exodus chapter 3, verses 13 through 14. So read along with us. It says, "But Moses protested, 'If I go to the people of Israel and tell them, the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them?' God replied to Moses, 'I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you.'" You see, I think it's so important here because one thing to consider, there's two real things. One thing is that the people of Israel have now been in slavery in the land of Egypt for close to 400 years. And so the people of Israel have forgotten, think that God has abandoned them. And so that's the first thing and the first question of why Moses is asking God, what should I tell the people? You see, right before this, he asks God, he says, okay, what should I tell the king? What should I tell Pharaoh? Because he's worried and he's self-conscious about going into a king, into a Pharaoh who thinks that he is a God. And he's wondering what he tells that person. Well, in the second group of people that he's questioning of why, God, are you sending me to them? They're not even going to believe me, is actually God's people, who again themselves feel abandoned by God. And I think it's so important because what God tells Moses in this is he's telling him who he is to tell the people of Israel. And so it answers two questions for Moses. One, it answers Moses' fears. It quiets his fears about who God is that he says he is, that I am. And then it also is going to quiet the fears and the concerns and the questions that are going to rise up within the nation of Israel in the land of Egypt. And so what God tells him to say is I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel. I am has sent you. And so you look at that, okay, well, what does I am mean? And really what it means is that it's all encompassing. And so the God who is the God of love, the God who is the God of promise, the God who is the God of joy and peace, the God who has been the God of their forefathers, of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, the God who is with Joseph in protecting the people from the famine by going to Egypt in the first place, the God who has been their God for centuries is still the same God. That he is steadfast in his love, that he is steadfast in his mercy, that he is steadfast in his character. You see, I think that's sometimes something us as Christians that we start to lean and we start to question and we start to wonder if God is consistent. We wonder if he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And the answer in Scripture is that he is. He is everything that we need him to be, no matter what season we are walking in. You see, I think the thing that Moses is questioning, he's questioning his authority. He's walking into the situation. He's thinking about it from a human perspective. I think like we all do sometimes. He's walking in and saying, I'm not good enough to go speak in front of kings. I'm not good enough to go and lead a nation out of captivity. I'm not good enough to go and bring the gospel to people. And I think we have that same self-doubt sometimes. I think that we doubt our own purpose and our own call to ministry. And I think that God is reminding us in this scripture, just like he reminded Moses, that he is enough. That he is enough to lead us out of whatever situation that we're walking through. You see, again, I think sometimes in our walk as a Christian, in our walk in faith, I think that we think that we're not good enough. We question God, we question his purpose. And sometimes we, like Israel, feel forgotten. We feel like we've been forgotten for our whole life. We feel like we've been forgotten for the last 5 years, 10 years, however long it's been. Maybe it's been 40 or 50 years. But God is reminding his people that he is with us. Not only is he with us, but he is everything that we could ever want him to be. He can bring us peace in a situation where there seems to be no peace. He can bring us comfort in the midst of loss, in the midst of grief, in the midst of suffering. He can bring us purpose when our life seems to have no purpose. And I think that's such an important thing that we understand as Christians, is that we need to know that our God is everything. We need to know in our hearts, we need to know in our minds, and not just know, but believe and act with that same belief and carry out the mission and the purpose that God has called to you. Is that awesome, church? I think it's such a great word about who our God is, his plan for us, and his plan for his church. And so I'm so thankful you joined us today. I hope you have a great day, have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you back for online devotionals tomorrow. Y'all have a great day.